was previously called to order. Is the mic on now? Yeah. There is a quorum. The meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. We are coming out of executive session, no action to follow, and as with every meeting, we'll start off with a prayer and the pledge. Mr. Martinez, it is all yours tonight.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we love you. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect our students, teachers, and community. Continue to remind us that all we do here today and all that we accomplish is for you and in your service. Lord, September is a time when we all come together and school kicks into high gear. I ask that you be with our students, protect them, and help keep them healthy. Give them guidance in the choices they make and remind them to focus on learning, not only about subjects, but about themselves. Help them to remember to be kind to one another and start with hello. For our teachers and staff, please provide them with patience and compassion. Help them to always have the right words of encouragement for each student. Help them to continue to show the enthusiasm for their profession as we work through the challenges of our times. And while many things come with the fall season, including new classes, football, volleyball, marching band, PTA meetings, and many more learning opportunities, help us to never lose sight of our purpose and direction for our schools. May our patience be strong, our faith be deep, and goodwill be never ending. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Okay, we have special recognitions.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Crawford. We would like to begin our special recognition part of the meeting by announcing our September District Students of the Month. The elementary student of the month is Maya Subia, a 5th grade student at Jones Elementary School. The secondary student of the month is Callie Maxwell, a 7th grade student at Three Lakes Middle School. At this time, please join me in watching a brief video about these two outstanding students.
Throughout the school year, we see successful student outcomes happening all around us, whether in the classroom, on the court, on the field, or across the stage. We celebrate these successes. This is our school district, and these are our students of the month. Let's meet our elementary student of the month.
Hi, I'm Maya Subia. I'm a 5th grader of Jones Elementary, and I'm student of the month of September.
Maya is a hard worker and a dedicated Jones Jaguar. She represents the 7 habits by effectively demonstrating habit 1, be proactive.
Where you're in charge of you, and you do but you don't do bad things.
Maya claims that she is a math whiz. Her hope is that someday she will teach it to a class of her own.
I learned more stuff in math class, and one of our tests that we did, I made a master's, and I'm above 5th grade. When I grow up, I want to go to college, and I want to go to NYU, and I want to become a teacher, like all my teachers here from 4th grade and 5th grade.
Maya's 5th grade teachers, Shelby Beasley and Sandra Rojas, are both proud of her and cannot wait to see how much she grows during this school year.
Maya is an excellent student. She's very outgoing and spunky. She's very eager and determined to get things done. She exhibits great leadership skills and is definitely a leader in me student and is really on the road of preparing herself for 6th grade.
Next up is our secondary student of the month.
Hi, my name is Callie Maxwell. I'm a 7th grade student at Three Lakes Middle School, and I'm the September Student of the Month.
Callie is the epitome of what it means to be a Three Lakes Gator. She is a role model to students because of her leadership, kindness, and her willingness to help everyone. Her work ethic is impeccable and shows that she puts first things first.
We've been doing the Leader in Me journal books and advisory and like working on that and talking about it. One person or a few people, they can lead you, and some people need to follow because not everybody's a great leader. And sometimes you just need somebody to like guide you and help you.
Callie's leadership qualities carry over from the classroom to the court as she excels in her extracurricular activities.
She is an awesome student and an awesome athlete. She is very much a good team player on the court and off the court. She is quick to encourage everyone. She is quick to just jump out there and try her best always. So it kind of brings the energy up and kind of brings the effort up, and they kind of all gravitate on her energy, which is really neat. I mean, they're always cheering and working together. So yes, she is a tremendous teammate for us.
Let's congratulate these two outstanding students as we continue to reflect successful student outcomes in Tyler ISD. Sponsored by Christus Trinity Mother Francis Health System.
And at this time, we would like to welcome Maya to the front to receive her award as our Elementary Student of the Month. Let's give her another hand. And now let's give a round of applause for Callie to come to the front to receive her Secondary Student of the Month award. We also would like to celebrate our District Teacher of the Month, Andrea Young, an Algebra 1 teacher at Three Lakes Middle School, and here are a few comments from her colleagues. She is a cool-headed leader of the math department, and she does not get flustered by anything and calmly takes everything in stride. Ms. Young has a good relationship with her students and is a good team leader for the math department. She builds relationships with students and cares deeply about their success. Ms. Young has high expectations for her students as elite leaders on campus. She serves as the campus SILT and is a highly respected member of her team. She has been with Tyler ISD for many years, coming from Stewart Middle School when Three Lakes opened. She is incredibly vested in the success of our school and our leader on campus. We are proud to call her ours. And let's welcome her to the front. Ms. Young. Let's give her another hand. Thank you for all that you do. Tyler ISD would also like to recognize Tab Bell for being named a recipient of the 2022 Texas State Board of Education Heroes for Children Award. This prestigious award is given to only 15 individuals statewide for outstanding services and support provided to their school community, staff, and students of Texas. So Mr. Beal, will you go ahead and come on up? And Mr. Bell was given this award while in Austin, but we wanted to recognize him here at our board meeting as well. Thank you so much. And this concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, as people filter out, we'll go ahead and move on to public participation. We actually have two speakers tonight, first of which is Nita Maxwell. Nita, you can come on up. You can stand at the podium, and typically that's what people do.
In the classroom. I am a retired disabled teacher. I taught at John Tyler 14 years in health science technology. It's health issues that forced me to retire, and since 2016, I have been trying to get some assistance from Tyler ISD, and that's what I need is assistance from Tyler ISD. It's not a very pleasant health issue, so if y'all don't want me to go into it long and loud here, I will gladly meet with a few of you at any time, but I have requested a letter in the past stating that if I had to leave my classroom at any time for any reason, the majority of the time being running to the bathroom, I cannot fulfill one of my major duties as a teacher. The insurance company feels like putting a restroom close to my class is sufficient, but the only way a restroom close to the class is really any better is if I can leave the classroom when I need to leave the classroom. And that is not in the guidelines for what a teacher is to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Next up, we have Bob Brewer. Happy Constitution Week, Mr. Brewer.
You beat me to it. Good evening, Mr. President, trustees, and happy Constitution Week. In 2004, Representative and now State Senator Brian Hughes passed Public Law 108-447, Section 111, that required the following. Each educational institution that receives federal funds for a fiscal year shall hold an educational program on the U.S. Constitution on September 17th of such year for the students served by the educational institution. It seems that every year in Tyler, schools find it difficult to celebrate Constitution Week during the week of September 17th. With your indulgence and the remainder of my time, I hope I can offer you, your teachers, your students, and their parents a life-changing Constitution lesson that 4 Supreme Court justice candidates did not know. I'd hoped that we could have the declaration that I gave you upside down on the board. I'd like you to grab the Declaration, Constitution, and put your finger just above the center of the front cover. Since everybody's probably already looked at it, you know that what I'm referring to is the cross that is above the Constitution. The reason this cross is above the Constitution and it's permanently fixed on this cover is that it is eminently more important than the Constitution. The object on the cover of the Constitution is the cross. The laws written on the cross, which are really in fine print, are the first laws in the entirety of hundreds of thousands of pages of U.S. law. I've got this with an opinion from our Attorney General verifying what I'm saying. Our founders put those laws in the first sentence of the first page of the first book of all U.S. law for a reason. Sir William Blackstone was the most quoted man by our founders, and he said of these laws, the laws of nature and nature's God, that no human laws should be suffered to contradict these. That is why our founders put those laws of nature and nature's God as the first sentence of the entirety of U.S. law. They did not want God's creation or God's written word to be contradicted. So there you have it, a Constitution Week lesson that I doubt many students in America have even heard. The lesson is that the bedrock foundation of the entirety of U.S. law are the laws of nature, that is creation, and the laws of nature's God, that is the Bible. How are our students going to know when they start writing laws if they are contradicting the laws of nature and nature's God if they don't study the Bible? It is for this very reason alone that there is no separation of church and state. Let me repeat, there is no separation of church and state. There is only a protection of creation and the laws of God that no human laws may contradict. The Constitution, which is beneath the cross on the cover of this declaration, was written to protect these laws of nature and nature's God, as well as our God-given unalienable rights, equality at creation, life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. I hope this Constitution Week finds you now more informed than you were at this time last year. I pray that any preachers that hear this message will start preaching it and spreading it far and wide. For once again, how are our students going to know when they write laws if they are contradicting the laws of creation and the Bible? May all of your Constitution Weeks be ever happier. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. All righty, well, that is it for public comment. And just as a point of clarification, Marty, which we can do, we celebrate Freedom Week and give the Constitution its due credit as allowed by Texas legislature the week before Memorial Day, correct?
Correct.
Just wanted everybody to.
We do that the week before Memorial Day to throw everything in, including the memorialization of those that gave their lives in defense of said Constitution. So the back end of school is always a interesting week, and we certainly want to make sure we expend our time doing it the right way. And so thank you very much.
Okay, we will move on in our agenda. We have the approval of minutes August 4th and August 22nd. Do I have a motion on those items?
I move that we approve the minutes of the August 4th and 22nd.
Thank you, Dr. Nation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Moving on to our continuous improvement and student outcome updates. We have an advanced placement and dual credit update. Always good to hear from Mr. Brown and the good news coming out of your department.
Board President Washman and Dr. Crawford, trustees, I appreciate the opportunity to share some information and update on our advanced placement and dual credit programs here in the district. Before I get into the presentation, I just want to kind of make a point of reference to the last time I spoke to you. This goal is overarching over college, career, and military readiness. That's goal 3 the district has. We found out recently that the military enlistment piece is actually going to come back into the accountability. TEA, Texas Education Agency, had told us that it was going to go away, and now it's coming back. So I just wanted to make that point. Goal 3, strategy 1 specifically says that our graduates, that we want them to achieve a score of 3 or higher on AP exams, that we want them to earn credit in either a math or an English dual credit class, or a combination of 9 hours in any class. And we want to see that increase from 21.6% in the original baseline year that was adopted in 2020 to 30.9% by June of 2026. So that was the growth measure that we put in. And if you go back in time, the first time we reported out, that was the class of 2019 in the 2020 performance reporting that was 33.3%. 2020, 34.8. And the most recent data that we have from the Texas Education Agency with the target of 27.3 was 37.9%. So we're on pace, and we're continuing to show growth. And as I get through the presentation, you'll see that this is where the arrow really is headed. It's upward. It's an upward trajectory. But that's strategy 1 for the goal. The first part of it is dual credit. And this shows you the last 3 years. And I would just remind you that it includes the fall and spring semesters. That is why you see in the 3 previous years 36.51 and goes down. The slight dip in 2021, just a reminder that that's the year following the spring that we had, where some students, we had a little bit of difficulty with students out getting the TSI taken and some of the requirements met. But we bounced back last year with a strong year. This is the current enrollment that you see, the 1,704 for fall 2022. So when you look back historically, we usually see growth in the spring semester from the fall, anywhere from 5 to 12%. So if you look at those numbers, kind of a projection of where we feel like that we'll end up at the end of the year, should be somewhere around 35.78. And I just used a number in the middle on that percentage of growth. It very well could exceed that as students continue to gain eligibility and take those classes in the spring. Moving over to the AP exams that students are taking, and just a reminder, these are taken in May of every year. So this will reference back to May of 2022, a few months ago. These numbers, and since there are more rows here, I kind of average this out. But if you look over the last 3 years, you'll see where we have as far as the number of students taking AP exams, the exams that those students have taken, and then the number that have scored 3 or higher, which was related to strategy 1 and goal 3. And then that compares to the numbers. We had a few more students taking AP exams, and you can look at the numbers, a few more students, 921 versus 914, that took the exams. And then we had more students that actually passed by scoring 3 or higher on an AP exam this past May. It's pretty amazing when you're talking about separate groups of students. You graduate a group of students, they move on. So this is a whole new group of students as far as the seniors are concerned. And it stayed right at 52.7 previously, and it was 52.6% passing rate. The best comparison probably we can do is how are our students doing compared to students across the state, knowing that each year it's a new group of students coming through. And so when you look at May 2022 across the state, 49.5% is the passing percentage, with hundreds of thousands of AP exams taken, compared to where we are at 52.6. So I think that's a pretty fair comparison. Drilling down just a little bit further into some of the specific subjects that our students are taking in AP exams and how they fared compared to students across the state. These are 6 of the 22 exams that we have, and they're the top 6 as far as the difference. So you can see there it's spread across electives, science, English, computer science, psychology, but a pretty wide gap as far as the success that our students are having in scoring 3 or higher on these exams. And then overall, when you look at the 22 exams, 15, of course, 6 of them are represented here. 15 of the 22, our students actually outscored or outperformed in the passing percentage of the students from across the state. And that's all students. That's compared against private school, charter school, public school, all students. That's how that we performed. Combining the students, and on this particular one, looking at 11th and 12th graders currently, and comparing those over the previous 3 years, as far as enrollment, this kind of can tell us where we're headed this year. But you can see in 3 years ago or 2 years ago in the fall of 2020 where we were, students taking either an AP or a dual credit course, and that's that third row down at 1290. It dipped just a little bit last year, almost 30 students, and you see that it's come up just a little bit. Overall, percentage-wise, when you're looking at all students that are 11th or 12th graders in our district, it's right at 55%. So more than half of our students are taking either an AP or a dual credit. And many, and you can look at the numbers, are taking some of both. So maybe AP English, but dual credit history or some combination like that. The course, and another thing I would say about this is that the overall, when you look at 9 through 12 numbers, that would have to include pre-AP. It's not part of that goal, but those are the students that are preparing themselves to take AP and dual credit classes. That's actually at 60% in the district. So that's a good foundation for students moving up into these type of courses. And that's pretty much the AP and dual credit information. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any comments or questions for Mr. Brown?
I had a comment. I just wanted for you to reiterate the fact of what students are included in the total number of students of the state.
Oh, it's all students. It's hundreds of thousands. It's public school, private school, charter school. If a student in Texas takes an AP exam, we're comparing them directly against all students. Yes.
Anybody else have any comments?
Mr. Brown, it seems like things are kind of leveled off. Would you say that? Is it hard to push to get more people to take these once you get to a certain level?
We've reached somewhat of a plateau. You're correct in the numbers these last few years. One of the things that we've seen is that there's been a little bit of a shift, a few less AP and a few more dual credit. I think people are making that decision. Yeah. Somewhat as a financial decision. We've got students graduating with 12 to 36 hours of college credit with our dual credit strong partnership with TJC. But I won't say that it's more difficult. Really, the target now is when you look at those passing percentages and mean scores, we want to see those increase. So it's not necessarily that we're wanting to see the overall number, which that would be wonderful to have 100%. But realistically, we know that we're going to challenge these students at a very high level. So the real focus is on seeing the passing percentages go up and the mean scores go up. But yes, I would say that overall there's somewhat of a plateau as you look at these last 3 years in the overall numbers.
What about kids in the AP classes that aren't taking the exam? Does that happen?
There are some. It is optional. We have open enrollment in AP, so that means any student that wants to take an AP course in Tyler has that opportunity. And so subsequently we do, it's an option. We strongly encourage all students to take the AP exam. Not all choose to do so. So the ones that you're looking at are the ones that actually took the exam. And I can go back to the numbers on exams, roughly close to 1,000 exams that were taken last year by our students.
And then can I just ask a quick question about that military readiness?
Sure.
Wasn't the problem that they didn't know how they were going to measure it?
I think there was just the way that the districts were reporting the data to the state, there wasn't a lot of confidence in that process. So the process they have now is going to be very, very uniform and consistent as far as the military recruiter, the enlistment form, much more detail oriented.
There may or may not have been a district that counted all their kids military ready because they held an assembly one day and had the recruiters come in and address them. So it needs to be a little bit more statistical. I will say, back to your AP dual credit stuff, I keep hearing from, I've got school-age kids, and I keep hearing from parents who've sent their kiddos off to to college, how their kids feel prepared if they've gone through AP and dual credit. So I know it's anecdotal, but at the same time, the data doesn't lie. When your batting average is 68% on outperforming all the public, private, and charter school students across the state that are taking these AP exams, numbers don't lie. We were batting 65%. Our batting average, our number of at-bats kind of went down a little bit.
We had a few less exams.
But I'm sure we'll probably pick those back up.
I'll just say, as a parent with 2 kids in college right now, I am sure glad that we took hours into both of them. It's made it just so much easier and better on our kids, not to feel the pressure of a full load every single semester, and they've both so far done well with it. So I would encourage any parents watching to take advantage of this if you've got kids that are planning to go to college.
Absolutely.
Once again, I'm very impressed with the numbers from the AP and dual credit. I think that, once again, I've always said, and I continue to say, that TISD has an excellent program educational-wise. We need to really publicize that and make individuals in the community aware that TISD has a great educational system. And this just proves it with our dual credit and AP, although they're exceptional students from the beginning, but still, they have a good foundation.
Thank you.
Yeah, we focus on successful student outcomes, and this is one of those outcomes that I'm very proud of. A lot of times there's some kind of rumors that hold on to Tyler ISD or public ed, throughout the decades, one of which might be, well, y'all just put all your resources into this group of kids and closing these gaps, and y'all don't pay any attention to the high performers. And I think the data says otherwise, that we're absolutely committed to the kids that are capable of advancing in dual credit and AP. And not only that, we have really robust offerings, and you just continue to knock it out of the park with that. So
One thing I would add, and I do appreciate that, just the countless hours that our teachers spend outside of the regular day, attending AP Summer Institutes, professional development, preparing themselves for the rigor of these courses. And that's where, that's the behind the scenes piece where a lot of credit belongs.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Okay. Next up, we have our another educational acronym, TOP teacher program, Tyler Optimal Performance Program.
As Ms. Taylor, Executive Director of Human Resources, makes her way up to the table, along with Dr. Curran, our Director of Assessment and Accountability. Just so proud of the teachers that were able to perform this year under the teacher incentive allotment. One of Commissioner Morath's favorite things here, as far as the improvement of the teaching quality, certainly influencing successful student outcomes, and then most importantly, teacher retainage. In some districts, of course not here, because we don't have as high of a percentage of socioeconomic status, and they'll go over this. Places like Dallas ISD, you're making 6 figures to stay in the classroom and perform at high levels. We've got some teachers that are on their way to some incredible compensation here because of the way that they're growing our kids. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Taylor, Dr. Curran, and take y'all through that.
Thank you, and good evening, President Washburn, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Crawford. It's our pleasure to join you this evening to have our top teacher fall update. Just a quick review, as Dr. Crawford was saying, teacher incentive allotment came about from the state of Texas to give 6 figures, or as close to 6 figures as we can, to our teachers for those that are performing high in the classroom. When a teacher earns a designation, 70% goes in their pocket. 20% goes to other teachers on the campus, and 10% comes back to the district to help maintain the system. There are 6 campuses that are TIA campuses in Tyler ISD. That's Austin, Bolter, Jones, Orr, Pete, and Ramey.
We just want to provide a quick review of the criteria that are used to designate teachers. And so we've put them up here for you to kind of review. We've talked about these before, but just as a quick reminder, there's teacher evaluations, their formal observation where we look at domains 2 and 3 of their T-test evaluation. We also look at student growth, as Dr. Crawford alluded to. We look at that on STAR as well as M-Class, Renaissance, and this year we've added our pre-K teachers, pre-K and Head Start teachers using CLI Engage. We also look at teacher attendance as well as student surveys, and so there's cut scores for all of those assessments or pieces that we plug into the puzzle that teachers have to hit. One piece we did want to mention is that teacher evaluations and student growth have to be strongly correlated for our system to get approved. So if we're not rating our highest growth teachers with their highest ratings, then essentially our system gets looked at from a different perspective.
So we are beginning our third cohort. We're collecting data on our third cohort, and I can't believe I'm already saying that. Our first cohort, they've already begun receiving their payout. And our second cohort, that's the data that we're going to share with you tonight, and that's the data that we're about to send to Texas Tech University and TEA.
So we presented our STAR data to you. We presented our accountability results to you. Obviously, we did see some substantial improvement this year. And I think when you look at the number of designations or potential designations we'll have this year, you'll see a similar trend. Last year, we had 9 teachers that had designations approved. So they have received their first payout and will continue to receive that. Last year, we had 29 teachers that met all of the criteria for a designation. So we will nominate 26 of those 29, and we'll talk about why we can't nominate 3 of those teachers in a moment. Before we go through them, though, we do want to remind you that there's essentially 3 levels teachers can be designated at. Those are the recognized level. They can be designated at the exemplary level, which is a slightly more stringent set of criteria, and they can be designated at the master teacher level, which is kind of the highest and the largest stipend of the 3 designations. We did want to point out this year that all of our top campuses from last year did receive at least 1 designee. So we had Hogg and Pete both had 1 teacher that we're going to nominate for a designation. We had Bolter receive 2 nominations, Orr received 4. Austin and Jones both had 5. Ramey closed it out with 11, so they had the majority. With 9 of their 11 teachers came in kindergarten through 3rd grade. So those early grades where literacy is really built.
So the first chart that we have for you is our recognized nominations. I would like you to take note of Ms. Riggs and Ms. Esteban. So a second ago, Dr. Curitan stated that we have 3 that were not turning their names in. It's because the designation that they earned or been nominated for this year is less than the designation they earned last year. So we always give them the highest of what they earn. They did earn a nomination, but we're not turning their names in. On the next chart, this is our exemplary, this is our middle group. I would like you to take note with Ms. Cubata, Ms. Lopez, and Ms. Gonzalez. They were nominated last year in 2021 for a recognized nomination. They are being nominated again this year because they've moved up a nomination. And then Mr. Alvarez, he was recognized last year for a master nomination, so we're just gonna, that's his highest, so we're not gonna be turning his name in. This last chart is our master nomination designation. And with this, Ms. Moran and Ms. Guzman, again, they are moving up a designation, so their names will be turned in as a nomination. So out of the 9 designations we had last year, 8 of them received nominations again this year.
And if we could just add one piece to that, we keep referring to this year's or last year's teachers as nominations. So we will submit those teachers' names in October. They'll be reviewed by Texas Tech and TA, and then we'll hear in the spring if they were approved formally for the designations. So until then, we just refer to them as nominations to kind of seek the difference. And we can take questions if you have any.
Okay, does anybody on the board have any questions about or for our presenters? About the program or for our presenters?
Just clarification in regards to the individuals that actually qualify. These are individuals that's in the classroom, regular classroom teachers, that's their primary responsibility, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is correct.
Is there any data yet on teacher retention at these campuses? I have to assume that it probably would be pretty good.
Well, of the 9, 8 are still at the campuses. We did have one that unfortunately had to leave the.
What
had to
about just
leave.
in general? Because the money is shared, right, with the campus?
It's shared with the campus. The retention, we don't have exact data on that. We are working on that, actually. That's something that we've been pulling in our department to see where we stand with retention this year.
Mentioning the money being shared, you said 20% goes to the other teachers. How do you determine which teachers?
So they had to be at the campus in 2021 to receive the 20% designation. So if they're still there, they divide that money up, the ones that are still there.
I had a little bit of a front row seat to this whole kind of process. So if anybody out there who might not know what the heck this is, or you're watching and wondering, you know, that the question or comment that a lot of people say, you know, we're trying to catch, a lot of times we are behind on certain subpopulations, really trying to get creative and find what can we do? And everybody's like, well, you know, you need to pay your best teachers more to get over there to teach, you know. So this was kind of the state's response to that, you know, to incentivize good teachers to go to campuses that might be a little tougher than others. So the campuses you named were some of our hardest campuses and most challenging for teaching and learning, I guess. And so a lot of these teachers, they apply for this program and they're at or they go to those campuses, and if they earn it, then they are incentivized financially. So that's kind of, if anybody is wondering what our top program is, that's it. It's a teacher incentive program. So anyway, Dr. Crawford or anybody else have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet, but we're talking about maybe possibly opening this up a little bit more to some more campuses, because it's really not attracting more teachers to the campuses we thought we would attract to. Plus, we've got challenges all over the district within our sub-pops. And so that's something to consider down the road. Again, we're not ready for that yet. Refresh the board's memory. Once you get this designation, you hold on that designation for X amount of years, and it is TRS eligible.
Correct. So they will keep the designation for 5 years. It is TRS eligible, and it goes on their teaching certification for 5 years as well, that they are a designated teacher and what designation they've earned.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just had another question. In regards to the 6 campuses, only the teachers on these current campuses can apply and qualify for this program right now, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We're just with the
There's no
6.
application. They're just by teaching a grade level course class at that campus, they're automatically applied.
Mm-hmm.
They've already applied for that, but it is right now is at just those campuses. That's correct.
Okay.
Dr. Curtin, on the correlation, just for the public out there, you said the correlation of the high appraisal needs to match with high performance.
Correct, high growth.
Okay, high growth. And the converse of that, or the adverse of that, would be that we can't be giving high appraisals if there's no growth.
Correct.
That'll also kick us out of the program. So we can't just go in the old PDOS days, Mr. Jones, just give them all 5s over on the Likert scale of just how we feel that day. There's actually science behind this. There's methodology behind this as far as calibration goes, and we actually study that and actually work on that with our chief school officers and our principals as well.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate the update. Okay, moving on to our business, legal, finance, and consent agenda. We will pull item B, which is gifts and donations, but I'll go ahead and entertain a motion on items A through E with the exception of B.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, let's talk about gifts and donations.
So gifts and donations, this made it to your spot tonight. Did not make the packet, but we did post it appropriately. We actually have a $5,000 donation from the Wayne D. Boshears center, their PTA, to go to their new playground that they actually cut the ribbon on this last year. We had a lot of folks that actually contributed to that around the community. It's a pretty neat place, but their PTA chipped in here just recently with $5,000.
Wow. Well, what an incredible place and what an incredible school. And I'm glad that those kids get to enjoy that new playground. I will go ahead and entertain a motion on this particular item.
I move that we accept the donation with great thanks for a wonderful school,
Second.
showcase school.
That's right.
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. And with a grateful heart, we have accepted this donation for both years. They are on their way to school over there. Okay, moving on to our curriculum, instruction, and consent agenda. Pretty short, items A through C. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion on those.
I move we approve items A through C.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Superintendent staff reports. We have our quarterly investment report. Tasha Bjork on the mic.
Ms. Bjork, you have a microphone at your table. Would you please address the board about the quarterly? I can't believe it's time again. It just seems like we did it a month ago.
Time flies. The last quarter, our average was around 52 basis points, and this quarter it's 1.46, so we're continuing to rise, so things are looking up, and hopefully it'll get better next quarter.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ms. Bjork?
Better in terms of our investments for the
Right.
school system, but we
Yeah.
know what's driving all of this,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're celebrating that.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay, we have a few discussion items. TASB update, 119, local policies, CPC, DMAE. Well, there's a lot of them. So it's a first reading. Marty, would you like to?
Yeah, first readings, as we always do. Now, a lot of school districts don't do that. They throw the policies in front of you and just ask you to adopt them right then. So we do 2 readings here. You can read tonight if you choose to when you go home after the meeting. But certainly take a glimpse of this before we actually get to our board workshop for the second and final reading and potential adoption. So if you've got any questions about any policies in here, please contact myself or Dr. Gropel, who's got the microphone in front of him right now. Dr. Gropel, do you want to say anything?
Just a few policy updates, shifting a couple policies, deleting a policy, and just a couple verbiage tweaks on the majority of them. The addition to 2 policies of EFA and EFB were the most significant changes in the policy book.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure to review all of these, and if we have any questions for anybody in the district, we will let you know before we come back for the second reading. Same with the local policies, I assume.
Correct. Those are attached to a lot of that. And then you also have the audit committee charter that talks, that Ms. Coker worked with the audit committee in regard to that. Talks about the auditor for any new board members actually being a part of the induction process for board members and inclusion into the board operating procedures.
Good deal. Okay. Moving on to future business, we have a workshop October 6th and a regular meeting October 17th. Fall is upon us, but it sure feels like summer this week. Sure feels like summer. So hopefully by then it'll be a little cooler. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Second, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries.